And you are watching another Blitz film review. He has that ability to, trust me, he definitely does. Just his ability to catch balls outside of his frame, his leaping ability, his ability to hang in the air, his yak ability, it's all there. Lowers his helmet, low man wins, bang, rocks a guy.
Hall running free, Brees Hall inside the 10, he's gonna score!
The corners all do their job. You know, if you look at the picture right here, lock.
3rd and 1. Stevens always drilled. What a great defensive play.
I don't try to Monday morning quarterback any of the reviews I do, and I'll try to be honest with a lot of those things I put up. And you are watching / listening to another edition of Blitz. Sorry I was gone last week. As I announced on Twitter, though, my wife had the baby, so that happened. Could not do the podcast last week, 2 days after he was born, so I waited a week, and it's not like there's even that much to talk about, at least at that point. But now we have some Senior Bowl topics, which I'm sure you guys are going to bring up and I will comment on. The Jets are interested in every single offensive tackle that you've ever heard. That's going to come about. Anytime the Jets bring in 30, 40, whatever people it is to interview, the Jets are automatically going to draft those guys. Remember, smoke screens happen. It's only February 2nd. Also, something that's funny is that every single one of these guys now does not have a weakness. You know, Marvin Harrison is going to be his dad. Rome Odunze is going to be Calvin Johnson. Malik Neighbors is now Antonio Brown. So it's going to be fun to sift through some of those things. But yeah, looking at some of these like reviews and stuff like that over the last couple of weeks, I saw that Daniel Jeremiah, and I respect him. Maybe I'm starting to lose it a little bit, but he had, his top 50 come out, and I looked at it, and and by the way, I apologize. A little bit of allergies. I'm definitely not sick because I haven't been around anybody, but allergies are killing me, so I might have to mute myself a few times. Again, my apologies. Nonetheless, DJ's first line of the Rome Odunze write up is that he's really good against press coverage. He has a tons of releases or whatever it says. I'm like, I watched literally every single one of his games this year, and I don't know if I've seen him beat press more than 1 or 2 times. Like, he does not cleanly beat press. If you're going to, and kind of, by the way, Matt Harmon also was on DJ's side because he said he texted DJ and he asked DJ, this is not verbatim, but he said to DJ, do you have him just as high as Marvin Harrison? And DJ said yes. So either they're too high on Marvin Harrison or Marvin Harrison sucks, because I like Rome Odunze. I don't like him like some stud, block top 5 receiver. I would put Garrett Wilson above him last year. I would put Drake London above him last year. But nonetheless, Matt Harmon kind of backed up and said he watched him in two or three games. He didn't have a weakness for him. Like, what? Like, not a weakness? Are you sure? Did you see him versus press? And this isn't like, I don't want to just shit on everybody on this show, but it feels like I kind of have to, because the only thing you hear about these guys is positivity, and you don't really get the negativity or the kind of maybe the little tidbits that indicate that maybe they won't work out. What are some of their weaknesses? People don't really talk about that stuff often. I saw something else on Twitter that I think it's like Walter from walterfootball.com or whatever it is, has a whole write-up of Malik Neighbors, and the only weakness he has is that he's not ideal size. There's like 13,000 strengths, and the one weakness is he doesn't have ideal size. That's it. Are you sure? So we're going to dispel some stuff. We're going to talk about some of these guys. I've watched quite a bit in the last couple of days. Obviously, with the baby, it's been a little bit crazy in terms of the sleep, especially for my wife. But during the day, I'm watching him a lot. So I'm watching a lot of film because I could watch film very quietly. So I'm not watching TV. I'm not doing anything else. Just baby in one arm, computer is occupied by the other, watching a lot of these guys. So I've gotten through a good 5 or 6 Neighbors games, 2 or 3 Joe Alt games. I'm only going to watch like 4 or 5 of those, just because I don't think it's realistic that he's going to fall. After watching 2 or 3 games of him, it's pretty clear to me that he's easily the best tackle in the class. Past that, I watched Rome Odunze's entire season, J.C. Latham's entire season, Fuaga's entire season, Brock Bowers' entire season, and Fashanu's entire season. And that's actually a lie, because I leave one game for all of them just before I do the actual film breakdown. I like to watch a game just to remind myself kind of what I was feeling about this guy, to get a feel for him before going into it like kind of cold turkey. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff to talk about this week. We also had the playoffs, which have been pretty good, right? The Chiefs Ravens game actually wasn't even that good, to be completely honest. The Lions game, the Lions Niners game was good. A little bit interesting with the timeouts, but it's kind of what you get with Dan Campbell. But it was funny to see in the game against or the Ravens game, Dalvin Cook 0 carries, and then Josina Anderson. I don't know if she deleted it prior to the game or after the game or whatever it was, but he had one good carry last week. It was like one 15-yard run, and they ended up getting like, I think, 23 yards on like 14 attempts, or no, maybe it was like seven attempts or something like that. But it was like 3 yards per carry, and she tried to dunk on Jets fans. That was hilarious. She deletes that, and then by the way, just kind of following up about Josina Anderson, she puts out the worst tweet of all time, and then everybody comments and is like, "Hey, what the fuck does this even mean?" And she then deletes it, but then criticizes the fans, the 95% of people who don't understand it. She criticizes them, calling them idiots. And I can almost guarantee you that the 5 guys who did understand that tweet are the weird type of dudes who are leaving shower jellyfish to Josina Anderson, if you catch my drift. So brutal. One of her, the first line of the tweet says something to the effect of like, the Jets are, not happy about the Athletic Report or whatever it was, whatever the first line made sense. The second paragraph says, and I will read this slowly. Tell me if you get this. To a degree, it appears like to them what it appears like given the inevitable aftermath to some relationships in the building after Zach Wilson piece. I'll read the first part again. To a degree, it appears like to them what it appears like given the inevitable aftermath. And people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then she dunks on people and says they're all a bunch of idiots. It's like, no, how much you learn English, Josina Anderson? So there's been a few things this last couple of weeks I want to talk about, but like, dude, what the hell's wrong with that lady too? Deleting tweets, can't speak English. Nonetheless, let's talk to some people. I saw some chats in here that disappeared. I guess if you put the stream up too early, they disappeared. But Dakota was maybe not in here first. I think it might have been somebody else. But nonetheless, love the show. Can't wait. Hello, Dakota. It throws a couple of things in here. Go Jets, go Chiefs. I am not rooting for the Chiefs during the Super Bowl. I can't. The fact that, how much Mahomes bitches to the refs is frustrating. And then the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing, I would love to see them lose and not be happy after the game because I don't want to hear about it all the time. So go 49ers for right now. Dakota says Big J, Sauce, Jermaine Johnson is the most elite defensive trio in the Pro Bowl this year. I don't even know any other defensive trios. Does any other teams even have defensive trios like the Jets have? I think they might be boasting the only one. Nonetheless, and congrats to Jermaine Johnson. I think he got in over Khalil Mack because Khalil Mack denied it or whatever. So Jermaine Johnson's, he's turning into a hell of a player. And I do want to clarify that, and I've seen it. It's like, oh, I hated Jermaine Johnson's. No, I didn't hate Jermaine Johnson. I didn't think Jermaine Johnson was worth the top 10 pick. I thought he was worth a, late teens to early 20s, even late first round pick. And he went at like 24. So did I say that I hate the guy? This would be the same thing with Bowers. There's no gray area with people. It's either you love somebody or you hate them. I don't hate Brock Bowers. I think he's worth, maybe a first round pick, mid to maybe early teen or late teens to 20s first round pick. Do I think he's a lock, a top 5 guy, a Kyle Pitts, a real option for the Jets at 10? No. But does me saying that mean I hate the guy and he's never going to be a successful player? No. Top 10 versus 21st pick. Does that mean I hate him and he can never be successful? So it's just interesting to see some of that stuff between Big Q, Sauce, Jermaine Johnson. That is vicious, elite, and greatness all in one. Yeah, I plan on doing some reviews too. I plan on reviewing Q's season, Sauce's season, Jermaine Johnson's season, Tony Adams, Will McDonald, Carter Warren, Breece Hall, I think, are the ones I want to get done. But I definitely want to take a look at those 3 guys specifically. If I can only do 3, it would be Carter Warren, Tony Adams, and then what's his face? Will McDonald. Those are the 3 I definitely want to do. So MM in here, Joe Blewett, the greatest Jets analyst of all time. No, but I appreciate that nonetheless. At least I can tell you at the minimum I put my work in and don't base games or guys' profiles off of 1 or 2 or 3 games, or don't just watch highlights. Because another thing I heard, and I can show you the tweet I put out. We can go through it one by one. And eventually I'm going to have to start pulling just a bunch of clips up to prove people wrong about certain things, because like, oh, Brock Bowers is a monster contested catch guy down the field is just patently false this year. It's just false. He's not a good contested catch guy at this point. But in terms of like other guys like Rome Odunze versus Press, do I have to bring that up? Do I have to bring up the fact that Fashanu is a little bit more raw than people are? Yeah, a little bit more raw, even in the pass game, than some people think he is. Another thing I put up was, the Latham stuff is all I heard the entire offseason, which I didn't really believe in it, because why buy into anything at this point? I've been proven, I've been disappointed in people so many times. But Latham, turn on the Michigan game, turn on the Michigan game, turn on the Michigan game. And that was clearly based off of one play, because you turn on the Michigan game, the rest of the game is pretty damn good from JC Latham. He has maybe 1 or 2 other bad plays in that game, but the rest of it was actually pretty damn good. And even on the play that I forget the exact call. I think I don't know if it was power or counter, but the guard vacates. He has to step down the line of scrimmage and cover that gap. To cover the gap. So he's hoping that somebody doesn't shoot through that gap. You're just covering it really quickly. He gets blown up a little bit. He actually holds his anchor, and the running back kind of like runs into him, and then he falls over. It wasn't something where he got completely shit on that play. Like, yeah, he got jolted back trying to cover down on a play, So it's interesting to see the storylines that are just patently false. And I'll argue with guys about Brock Bowers, guy on Twitter recently. I put up, I don't know, 9-10 plays of him not good in contested catch situations. And he responds back and he's like, hey, I'm something about, like I don't do my homework or whatever it is. And he sends me a 5-minute highlight tape. The guy sent me a fucking highlight tape. I almost threw up. I'm like, really? A highlight tape? That's your defense? Like, what are we doing here? So let's keep saying hello again. A lot of stuff, just thoughts have to get out of my head. It's been 2 weeks. It's going to be all over the place. Notes are jambled because, again, been a little bit busy the last. Yeah. Okay. My wife is texting me. Sorry. I got some chimes or something like that. But yeah, it's some of the storylines are wild. Harold says OT rankings, Alt, Fuaga, Latham, and 4 Fashanu. Right now I'm definitely solidified in 1 is Alt. Pretty large gap. Oh my God. Okay. There it is. I appreciate it, Jan. I do. I was hoping you forgot. Jan reached out on Twitter. He's like, send me your Venmo, because I want to send you something. And Jan's a pretty generous dude. $100, man. That's clear. That's very, very far and away the biggest super chat I've ever gotten. And I greatly appreciate it. So the next 2 or 3 lunches are on you. Congrats on the baby, Joe. I'm getting tired of hearing that Saleh's the worst coach in Jets history in the NFL. He def has flaws, but he got 7 wins 2 years in a row while getting nothing from the quarterback position, O-line, and only 1 receiver. That narrative is dumb. Yeah, with that being said, and we'll talk about some of the, and again, Jan, fucking awesome. Like thank you a lot, man. And like I said, now maybe I'll order, which by the way, people from like Middletown, Red Bank, my area, I've never heard about Bullhorns, like a burger place. Holy shit. It's so fucking good. Like the shakes are ridiculous there. So just by the way, if you have a Bullhorns next to you, so lunch is on Jan next couple of days. With the Saleh stuff, the more disappointing part of him to me, one, you had like the timeout situation in Denver, right? That was a shit show. I don't like the how he just completely gave up on the season, and we'll talk about the athletic report and all that. And most of it we already knew, for to be completely fair. With that being said, I'm kind of in the middle. The athletic report, like some of the stuff is obviously true. Diana Rossini is a Giants fan who got fired from ESPN or left ESPN, downgraded her job, clearly has a beef with Aaron Rodgers after he told her, I believe, to lose his number. So they've been putting hit pieces out all year. So how much of it is true? I don't know. Like the cell phones thing. Is it something where he was in a meeting and leaks are coming out? He's like, what do I have to take your guys' fucking cell phones? And then it comes out that, he wanted to take our cell phones. Did he really mean that? Was it a joke? Was he just angry? So you can't really, you have to take a lot of it with a grain of salt, but nonetheless, part of my frustration with Saleh is him just giving up on the season. How many times during losses or blowouts, whatever it may be. One, we got blown out too many times. Division opponents, Bills blown out, Dolphins blown out. End of last year, Seahawks, Dolphins, Lions, Jaguars was embarrassing. So I don't like how he just kind of throws his hands up and says, "Oh, what do you expect me to do? What am I supposed to do?" So with also acknowledging that I didn't while he also could do more, it's not like he's a terrible coach at the same time, getting 7 wins with his team. But I don't like how he just gave up, made excuses, apparently researched coaches who, had winning records with backup quarterbacks, whatever it was. So he projects like a lot of confidence and stuff, but it mentally, and this is kind of, I guess this is easy for me to say sitting in my downstairs of my house, not my mom's house, not my basement. But does he portray confidence, but he actually lacks it mentally, and that is a frustrating part of Saleh. So I would have liked to see him maybe rally the troops a little bit better. But with that being said, to just blame everything on him is also foolish, because look at the roster and the hit piece again, which I'll get to my notes from it later. It's interesting that most of the hit piece is towards the coaches, but none of it's towards the GMs or the front office, who didn't sign tackles, who didn't get a backup quarterback, who got a shit number 2 receiver, who did nothing after Corey Davis retired. They're completely fine, but the coaches, it's all the coaches. It's all Aaron Rodgers, so you could definitely tell that more of the leaks were coming from the Jets front office. Was it Rex Hogan? You don't know. Apparently he was leaving anyway. Again, do you really know that? I don't know. Why did he leave? Again, I don't know. Was Rex Hogan in charge of pro player personnel? I hope to God he was, because if so, then thank God, because you really can't get worse than the Jets doing free agency, minus a guy or two. But yeah, it was interesting the angles that it took, a lot more towards the coaching staff than it was towards the front office, which again lead you to believe that the leaks came out of the front office. You also have coaches who say that Hackett basically gave up after Rodgers. Basically gave up after Rodgers left, or obviously got hurt, not left. Didn't really game plan well, didn't adjust in game well, which we knew. He never adjusted to Parsons. He never really adjusted to Myles Garrett. So yeah, he's a shitty coordinator. He's a shitty in-game adjustment guy. There was also the report that said he would always meet with like the offensive line coaches and like the pass game coordinators and stuff for the entire week. And then the positional coaches would get met with like the last second. Taylor Embry was just fired. Or let go, or muting partial of ways, however they want to say it. Was it Taylor Embry? So I don't like the fact that there's leaks now and there's a bunch of drama and all that shit, because that stuff just annoys me. The Jersey Shore Jets stuff, and obviously this article coming out, and I don't even know what else was from it. I kind of already recapped most of it, right? I even planned to right off the jump, but you also had the Woody Johnson looks at Twitter. No shit, he looks at Twitter. Does he actually bring it to Saleh? I don't know. But yes, he's clearly glued to Twitter. Didn't he get bullied? He got bullied at some point this year, right? With the Jets changing their jerseys. They're supposed to wear like green on green or white on green, and everybody was saying white on black, and they actually changed the announcement to the different jerseys. So yeah, no shit, he looks at it. I'll recap some other stuff, but that's off the top of my head. Again, I'm kind of rambling, but Jan, again, I really, really appreciate you. I'll do a quick one, which none of you care. So some of you care, but that's the little man with the chubby cheeks. So it's been great. January 21st, 2:12 a.m. Wife is healthy, baby's healthy. She's a fucking rock star, dude. Like they're expecting it to, him to come out in however many hours. She like cut down half the time. So absolute monster. So appreciate her more than ever. And it's been great, just minus some sleep things. Jan, again, I really appreciate you. J Dub says, love your show and video breakdowns. We need strong restructures for agency and draft. We need wins to shut people up. Finally, the thing is, J Dubs, and like, it's in our blood kind of to like defend the Jets. But if you were not a Jets fan, what would you be saying? Right? Like they've been deserved to be dunked on the last few years. Now this year, with Rodgers going down, it is what it is. That was obviously unfortunate, but I would dunk on them as an outside observer for the tackle stuff, for the receiver stuff, for the lack of backup quarterback stuff, for the stuff coming out of the front office now, for the leaks coming out, kind of embarrassing. The Gase hire was terrible. McCagnon was a joke. Izek was a joke. Rex was fine for a year or two when he ran his mouth when we were winning, but then when we were losing, it was embarrassing. So the Jets have been kind of a circus and a shit show over the last 10 years. So it's not so people can shut up. It's more so I could talk. It's not about, oh, this guy is so wrong, everybody just hates on the Jets. The Jets deserve to get hated on. I would like to be confident and talk about football and, oh, the Jets can actually get into the playoffs. Oh, what do you think about the Jets matchup with, in the divisional championship game against the Ravens? Like, I want to be able to watch football past December and actually have like a strong rooting interest. And the last few years we've had a little bit more interest because we've had an actual shot. But prior to these last 2 years where, you're a little bit interested in December, you had the Jets starting 0-3, 0-4 all the time, and you're out of it by the end of September. The 2019 year, we lose the first game to the Bills, and then Darnold goes out, and with the mono, Browns game, you lose. The next game, you most likely lost. So like, I just want to be able to watch football in December and January and have a legitimate team to root for and not have to go through all this bullshit, whether it be the circus stuff, whether it be the injuries. It's just not fun. It's just not fun to talk about the Jets consistently when they're losing. When they're winning in the offseason, when we can project and we could talk about, free agents, whatever it may be. Oh, by the way, appreciate the super chat nonetheless. I forgot to give you the soundbite. But yeah, it's more about me talking to other people shutting up. I just want to be able to have football conversations, not like, oh man, the Jets. Oh man, the Jets. Like going to that first game was the most exciting game I've ever been to in terms of like walking to the stadium, the environment, just the whole feel of it was awesome. And then to get, I don't even know how many texts after that game and like Twitter notifications, whatever it might have been, like it's just been heartbreaking. So for me, for all of you guys, I just want to be able to have a good team. Jan deserves it. J-Dubs deserves it. Dakota deserves it. Eagle deserves it. Harold, Harlan, everybody who's always in here. Slow-mo. There's a bunch of guys who deserve to see a good product. We're the worst franchise in all of sports the last 13 years. About, however you want to define success. Not making the playoffs, I would say, is a pretty good moniker. So let me keep going back through the chat. And Harold, Jan skipped you there because $100 super chat is absurd. Again, thank you. OT ranking is alt 1. Agree with you there, Harold. It's alt and then a pretty decent sized gap between my two. My 2 is clearly Latham, though. I don't have Latham with anybody else. Latham is my number 2. Pretty easily, I would say. My 3 is a battle. I like Fuaga better as a player than Fashanu. I think I like Fashanu more as a tackle option for the Jets because Fuaga worries me on the edge against speed, with lateral mobility, low hand placement on the outside hand. There was that rep that came out, if you guys know specifically the rep I'm talking about, on the Senior Bowl this week. Again, this is why you should get people to like break it down for certain people who don't necessarily understand. Guy tries to cross his face and Fuaga matches him and then buries him. But if you actually watch the rep, like if the quarterback wasn't dropping back, 10 yards deep into his drop, then he probably causes a pressure there. So Fuaga worries me a little bit with the lateral mobility, the low hand placement on the edge. So I think he might, or I think he is a better guard than the tackle. Almost like ABT, I think he could survive that tackle. I think he could be a solid tackle. I don't know if he's going to be a stud tackle. But I like him individually more than Fashanu. But and specifically with Fuaga too, a little bit worried about him in a outside zone system. Not even inside zone; it's more outside zone. Maybe they'll flex a little bit more inside zone. And I have to look at the splits to be completely honest. But outside zone is more conducive to guys who can move. Inside zone a little bit less so. But zone in general is more conducive to guys who can move, power, counter, all that stuff. It's more angle blocking, or it is angle blocking. So you just the landmarks are kind of easier to hit, and they're more defined, so you can explode off the snap. If you get Fuaga moving laterally and like not necessarily with a pinpoint destination off the snap, I don't think he moves the best for zone either, even in the run game. So I'm a little bit concerned about him. So if I had to say, like, gun to my head right now, it's alt gap, Latham slight gap, Fashanu, Fuaga. But Fuaga could overtake him. It's really going to come down to me watching it again and actually breaking down the film for 2 hours. And I'll be like, okay, I like Fashanu slightly more, but now I actually like Fuaga more. That's very possible. So they're kind of intertwined for my 3-4. So mine's almost like alt, Latham, and then my 3 is again one of those two guys. In terms of Morgan from Arizona, Christian Jones from Texas, there's Morgan, there's Christian Jones, there's it's like Fatagu or whatever his name is from Washington. I watched him passively while I was watching Roma Dunze. I was not overly impressed with him. It's not a guy I would necessarily feel comfortable with taking. I'm not even saying in the first round, but hey, okay, plug in his name might not be Fatanu, but Fatanu into Jets this season as your tackle. I don't know. Like I might rather just stick and pick. I think people get maybe obsessed with like trading down, but just give me the better player. Give me the better player. So with the guys like Christian Jones, with the guy like Morgan, with the guys like Fatanu, I know if I watch one, I have to watch all. Oh, this is including Mims too, Ardarius Mims. So there's probably another like 4 or 5 tackles running in the first round. So there's probably going to be 7 or 8, at least with what I'm hearing right now. I don't want to start watching those guys too and have to watch another 4 tackles. My time is going to be better spent doing the McDonald's, the Carter Warrens, the Tony Adams, the Breece Halls, Garrett Wilson, Sauce, Jermaine Johnson reviews, maybe Conklin. So I'm not even, I would fire Solid. No, he's not going to come. So let's just get away from that. Jets X Factor Rip Carl Weathers just wanted to give an X-rater, a movie star, his due honor, and congrats, Daddy Joe Bloat. Your amazing wife for the birth of your kid. Amazing stuff. Yeah, again, and everybody says it, but like rock star. Like, oh, you're gonna dilate, a centimeter an hour. It's like, oh yeah, how about 2? Like just absolute savage. So couldn't love her more, and the kid is obviously awesome. I can't wait till he's actually starts laughing and being able to play with him and like play games and all that stuff is gonna be really exciting. But he's awesome. This RJ says the saddest thing about. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't mention this. Another awesome gift. And I'm still waiting to put those Jet socks on, by the way, but they're a little bit too big. Another awesome gift. I'm not going to say necessarily who it's from. Actually, I will. Kyle Smith. He didn't give me any discretion, or he didn't say to have this, or not discretion. He didn't tell me to be quiet about it. He sent me a gift. I don't know if it's for like birthday, baby, something like that, but like just absolutely awesome. I see a thing in the mail from Kyle. I'm like, what the hell is it? Like maybe like a Jets jersey for the kid, whatever it is. And I open it. It's like a replica helmet that, by the way, actually fits. Just put it on real quick for Kyle, just in case he is ever going to watch. I should just do my stream like this. I'll do it for a minute. I still got to break in the pads a little bit. Maybe I should put this on with a visor for the kid when I'm changing the diaper. Which actually I'm not gonna wear this. Which has been interesting. There's going to be, if you never had kids before, there's going to be poop in places you don't expect it. Shooting across the room, leather couches, dressers, cribs, floors, blankets. I don't know how many blankets I washed in the first 2 days, because you just don't expect shit to fly out, but it does. So be careful. Slow-mo guy says, sup, Blewett. Hope you're having a good week. Oh, yeah, RJ, sorry. The saddest thing about the athletic report, not one word, was not believable. Everything it said about Salah or Hackett, I thought, yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. But a lot of the report, like what, and I'll go down, obviously. I'll catch up in the chat. What from the report did we not already know? Like what? There was really nothing. Like, yeah, Salah threw his hands up. It was pretty obvious he did. Like he just bitched about it the entire time during the season. Like, oh well, Rodgers is down. So yeah, he kind of threw his hands up. Hackett sucks. Yeah, we knew Hackett sucks. What else was in there? Woody Johnson pays attention to Twitter. Yeah, we know that. The only thing that was like, oh, the cell phone thing, which again could completely just be him saying, "What do I have to take your guys' fucking cell phones?" And then Taylor Embry sneaking out back, yo, they want to take our cell phones. Like it's all about context. So yeah, I don't know. Sup, Bloat, hope you're having a good week, which by the way, too, it doesn't matter. Like you guys know my profession. There's a video out there. It blew up. It had like 200,000 views. And the title is, I can share it if you guys want to. Slapping a cop goes terribly wrong. It actually 99% of the comments were actually very, very positive towards us. And the 1% are just a bunch of idiots who have no idea one about laws or anything really. So yeah, if you want to watch that, I make an appearance or 4 or 8 in that one. So slapping a cop goes terribly wrong. So that was interesting. I saw that blowing up. So that happened. The baby happened. And it's been grinding film. So yeah, it's been a good week, a little bit hectic, but fun. All right, it's time for Blewett. What's up, Harlan? Yeah, I apologize being late. My computer is old, and I deleted a lot of shit from my computer, like I don't know, however many gigs of stuff, and I was having some problems with my camera working after that. I deleted some type of something. I suck with technology. I deleted something. Also, congrats on the baby and 9K subs. Yeah, 9K is nice, but it's not 10, right? Like once you get close to 10, it's like, damn it, like just give me 10. So I'm hoping with the free agency reviews, with the draft reviews, with the Jet player reviews, maybe I get pushed over. We'll see. The takes have been crazy so far. Draft season is in full effect. And I said this 2 weeks ago. My biggest issue with draft season is people standing so steadfast on their opinions that were built in 5 minutes. That's what frustrates me. Like even if you have watched most of Fuaga, most of Fashan, you say, hey, I disagree with you about this. I like this, and about him more, and I think it'll translate better to the NFL level. Or I'll take the year of the raw Fashanu for the less high of a ceiling than Latham. Whatever your reason may be, okay, I'll have a conversation. But people saying, oh, you're a fucking idiot, you don't do your research, and then sending me a 4-minute YouTube highlight film, I know that's the only research they did, is just it's very, very frustrating. And then you just see people who just move with the tide. Everybody has the same opinions about players. There's nobody differs from each other. Oh, we all love Fashanu at first. Oh, we all love him. Now, the Jets are interested in Fuaga. He's having a great Senior Bowl. Now everybody loves Fuaga. And you'll ask people, oh, would you be happy with Fuaga at 10? Yeah, I would love Fuaga at 10. If you could ask a lot of people just to follow up, if you could follow up a lot of their answers with why, just why, a lot of people couldn't answer why. Just why. I guarantee it. They'd be like, Senior Bowl. Okay, well, what did you see on film? I don't know. So that's the frustrating part. That's the frustrating part because I know a lot of people depend on whether it be ESPN radio host or whoever it may be for their opinions. And these guys are doing very little research, and it's frustrating to me. So it is what it is. And that's what makes me, I'm sure people don't love that about me, that I will call some of that stuff out. And it might not make me like so cushy with other people because somebody would be like, hey, I like this guy. And I'll ask them why. Why? Shit, I didn't think you'd ask me why. I don't. Well, then don't conversate. Johnny Football, going to watch Joe Blewett. Enough of this crap. Okay, yeah, sure. I'm assuming you're talking about other crap. Are you talking draft stuff? I don't know. This from Eagle, the so-called scouting department is so trash on Twitter. It would take you a lifetime to straighten that mess out. Dude, it's just I don't trust anybody, and I try to go to certain people who I trust. But it's not a lot. It's really not a lot. There's a lot of people who I respected who had Evan Neal as the number 1-2 player in that draft. I can't really respect your opinion about offensive linemen after that. I'm sorry, I can't. How is he the number 2 player in the draft? That draft, he was terrible. Treylon Burks, same thing. There's plenty of players. There's players I miss on. I would say one of my bigger misses so far is Icky. I liked Icky. With that being said, I thought Icky should try tackle and would be a better guard. It hasn't worked at tackle. I would be curious to see how he played at guard. I can miss there. Kyle Hamilton, I was saying was not necessarily worth like a top 5 pick. I didn't want him at that spot, and I thought he was a little bit overrated. He's been really good with the Ravens. So yeah, you have misses, and there's slight misses, but when you can see that misses are from lack of research, it frustrates me. Or when I can tell you wrote a scouting report and I know that you didn't watch because something is just it's not objectionable. It's just patently false. Roma Dunze versus press coverage and saying he's great and he has a lot of releases is just straight up false. I don't care what anybody says, it's false. And I'll show you if I have to. It is false. He's not good against press coverage. Now, if the numbers, Matt Harmon, whoever else just, I guess, looks at numbers, if you go and if a press win is him getting pressed and then him winning a contested catch ball, if that's a win versus press, then okay, I think your statistical system is flawed. A win versus press to me is creating a yard or two of separation or getting the proper leverage that you want. Roma Dunze releasing, getting squeezed to the sideline 5 yards and then him catching a ridiculous ball is not winning press first to me. So you could tell who watches, who doesn't. And it becomes very obvious at this time of the year. It does. And I sound like an asshole, and I guess I am, but I guess I need to be the asshole at times, right? Or at least I feel like I do, because I don't like just seeing laziness. What's up, Joe? What's up, Christian? Congrats on the kid. Yeah, it couldn't be better, man. I'm excited for the next one already. Harlan, well, actually, give me a minute. I need a minute because we're not sleeping great. But I amp cheese. If Salah gets fired, Bill Belichick is the last person I want for head coach. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. That Josina. Oh yeah, right.
What the hell is even that? You blew it!
You're right. I gotta get the soundboard more in there. I apologize.
Quarterback.
That's always been my favorite one. Diana Razzini still has a vendetta against Rogers for blasting her. Yeah, so again, there's a gray area. It's not that none of it's true, and it's not that all of it, it's not that none of it's true, but it's not that some of it's not true at the same time. But you put it out on Salah's birthday. You clearly, I think her old profile, whatever it was, and maybe I'm just getting, maybe NYJ Matt just got me here, but it's like her old profile was like, oh, Giants fan. So you're a Giants fan. You clearly don't like Rodgers, and he clearly doesn't like you. And then you're putting out like a hit piece on his birthday. It's like, okay. So I believe some of it because some of it was obvious. Again, the Salah stuff, the Woody stuff, the Nathaniel Hackett sucking stuff. Yeah. Oh, no shit. We all know that. But I'll go over some of the more details because I have it written down. I'm just going through the chat. I don't have the notes up or anything like that. But yeah. It's did she get fired from ESPN or she got demoted or whatever? But I haven't really seen anything from Diana Rossini. I'm like, oh, that's a really good insight. That's a really good article, Same, and I'm sorry to do this too, but Josina Anderson too is just, I think she's just one of the worst too. She doesn't speak English half the time, and then she gets mad at other people for calling her out on it. And she deletes tweets pretty often. I've seen it quite often. I haven't said anything, but this last time with the Cook stuff, it threw me over the edge with, oh, Jets fans wish she had this guy back or proving Jets wrong. It was one run, and he ends up with like 7 for 23. And then she deletes it because she realizes she's an idiot. But like trying to dunk on the Jets for no reason. Now, with that comment before, the Jets deserve to get dunked on for plenty of reasons. You don't have to reach to dunk on the Jets. Like, why? Why are you doing that? So I lost a lot of respect for her. I don't know, Joe. I root for the Chiefs because I don't want Brady to sit alone in the GOAT debate. Okay, I get that, slow-mo guy. Like, I'm not telling you who to root for. I completely understand that, honestly. And there's a part of me when I watch the Chiefs, and even though I don't like Patrick Mahomes, I don't like Kelsey, I don't like the whole Swift thing. It's just annoying. Just stop shoving it in my face. I almost like get rooting for greatness. I can see that. Whether it be in basketball with like Jordan, and I'm not going to say LeBron because I absolutely hate LeBron for plenty of reasons. But like I get not liking guys, but also rooting to see greatness. Like Tiger Woods, I hate golf. I really don't like it, but watching him play, I'm like, I want him to win because I want to be able to say that I watched the best of all time, or I want to be able to like be in that conversation. So I understand it with Mahomes. I just don't like how much he bitches to the refs for calls when he undoubtedly gets more calls than other people. And then past that, again, the Taylor Swift stuff is just brutal. I don't want to hear about it anymore. So, Captain K Techno, hi Joe, looking forward to Ireland's biggest Super Bowl party. Shame I hate both the teams. Oh, you're having a big Super Bowl party, which by the way, Captain K, I think so. The Jets play the. I know you're different, bunch of different. I think it's always you. I forget. Like sometimes you're in like Asia. I think like sometimes you're in Ireland. I forget sometimes, so I apologize. My memory is just shot sometimes. But if they play in London, because I think the Jaguars play a home game in London, and so does another team that the Jets play. And the Jets play both those teams on the road. If the Jets are in London this year, I think I'm going to try to go overseas to watch them play. So if any of you guys are going to be there, I will most likely be there if the Jets are there. Because I want to go to all the stadiums. And that kind of includes I guess that's the 30, I have a fuzz on my nose, like the 31 stadiums. But I also consider like going overseas as one of the stadiums. And I know that they play in Germany, they play in London, they play wherever else. But at least one overseas game, like I think that checks the box for me, like Jets overseas games. So maybe I'll see you there. Super Bowl party, big one. I will have a very little one. My kid does not have all the shots yet, and I am not going to risk my kid getting sick and dying. Sorry, like, knock on wood. That's a terrible thing to say. That sounds so wrong. My wife would kick my ass. But yeah, we're not doing big Super Bowl parties and stuff like that just because all the sickness going around. So I'll be chilling, having a beer or two, maybe something other than beers, and enjoy the game. So Slow-mo guy says, curious to hear your opinion on who you take in the redraft, Karlaftis or JJ. I remember Kyle had him as number 2 DN. He's looking good, albeit another team. Oh yeah, so I did have Karlaftis over JJ. Now with that being said, I don't want to be one of those guys who has shallow opinions, so I can't just say, oh yeah, definitely Jermaine Johnson over Karlaftis at this point. But what has I know Karlaftis, but when I watch the Chiefs, he's usually pretty solid as well. So so it's not like that was a miss. George Karlaftis stats, again, very shallow. Obviously looking up his stats, but I just want to see if it's like in the ballpark. Yeah, okay. Talking about 10.5 sacks this year and 6 last year. Now, what is his snap percentages? How is he winning? Is he winning because of his own? Is he winning because the pocket's getting pushed? What is it? And I don't want to sound like a JJ hater. I think that he's working again. Sorry, fuzz on my nose. Jeez. He's working with more talent on the defensive line. So there is times where because Q and Quinton Jefferson are pushing the pocket so much, the quarterback is forced to go out, and then JJ is there. So how are the sacks? How is his run defense? Based on sacks, it looks like Karlaftis. But I can't just say that. That's hard to say. But it looks like he's doing it pretty well with KC because he's working with much less defensive talent, in my opinion, on the defensive line. Obviously, they have Chris Jones, but the Jets are far more stacked. With it also being said, does he play more reps? Is that why he got more sacks? I don't know. In that draft, I would have taken Karlaftis over JJ. So that's your chat. Yeah, that's awesome. NY Jets super fan, congrats, Joe B. What's up? Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thank you. He quit in the season, so it's not a narrative. Yeah. To be fair, Athletic called JD the assistant GM. Yeah, but it's not even they didn't call him an assistant GM. They said that another AFC I think it's like another AFC East GM or whatever called him an assistant GM. Like, okay, that's it. Like, that's your hit piece. Why was there nothing about tackle? Why was there nothing about receiver? Why was there nothing about backup quarterback? Because if it was a real hit piece on how shitty the season was, that would be in there. So why was it angled towards coaches? That's my question. And it severely diminishes like the credibility of the rest of it, even though the rest of it is just stuff that we knew already. So like, what did they break? Again, that's my question. And I would like somebody to put it in the chat. What did they break? I don't know. Salah threatened to take the players' cell phones and is so middle school if that's true. But again, it could be a thing where like, okay, they're losing. They come into a meeting and he's like, guys, like, I don't know how many guys are in there or whatever, 20 coaches, guys, there's leaks coming out about this, about that. Are we so fucking childish? I have to take your fucking cell phones. It could have been that. It could have been just him in a frustrating moment, Eagle. You said frustrating thing or things that are dumb in frustrating moments. I've said things. Everybody in here said things in frustrating moments. Was it that? Did he actually threaten to take them, which is obviously illegal? There's a big gray area in the middle of that. What actually happened? Was he being serious, or was it like, guys, you're fucking childish, let me take your cell phones now too? Or was it like, hey guys, put your cell phones in this bin, I'm taking it? There's that's two very different situations. Happy birthday, Robert Saleh. Yeah, that was funny on Twitter. NYJ Matt found that and basically saying the Jets have wished their coach a happy birthday the last like 13 years, and they didn't wish Saleh happy birthday this one, which I don't have many sources in the building, and this is a source through a source, but there's somebody who works for the social media team, and they said that it's a little bit new people, and they just don't do that anymore. Again, I don't know. Beautiful baby, congratulations! I appreciate it. Future scout, probably not. Probably not. One, you don't get paid as much, a lot more road time and all that stuff. I'm pretty cushy in my job. I'll just keep doing it for Jets X Factor. The Jets deserve no optimism with the perpetual losing regime. Yeah, it's not like there's optimism about next season, for sure, because of all the talent we have. But to just say like we don't deserve any criticism that we get, I don't think that's fair either, because we do. They won't shut me up unless they win a Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl or bust for me with Douglas and Saleh. Jets fans will accept the playoff berth, but I won't. Yeah, I think you need at least a chance, like a win or two. If they lose in the wild card, okay, awesome. Like that still sucks. If you lose in the division round, depending on the circumstances, yeah, still sucks. But how do they lose? How do they lose? And again, for me, Eagle, I've said it 1,000 times. I am so much more results over process. Or sorry, I am so much more process over results. So did they lose because of a fluke play? Did they lose because they didn't address tackle? Did they lose because they didn't address backup quarterback? They're not going to lose in the playoffs because of that. Did they lose because Alan Lazard dropped the pass and he's still the number 2 receiver? So how do they lose? It's all about the process. 53 years watching this. Oh, you're talking about like the thing. And Joe, by the way, you reached out. And I didn't necessarily understand what you were asking, but yeah, I'm down. You just got to kind of tell me like when, where, what, why, and give me like a schedule or something like that. I can't. I'm a little bit busy, but yeah, I'm happy to help out. Harold says, I agree, Joe. I like Odunze, but Press worried me. He doesn't hand fight well at all, but I do love his potential. He's very smooth. He has solid top end speed. It's definitely not elite top end speed. His contested catches and this is something that's going to frustrate me in the review, just like actually showing you guys, is because the Washington film guys are awful, like awful. The view is so goddamn high. Sorry, Lord's name in vain for people who get offended by that. The camera is so damn high, and then if for the end zone view, the camera doesn't pan quickly enough to get the catch. So every single contested catch I have is from high view and from so far out. So you could barely see what he does because the camera guys at Washington are brutally bad. But nonetheless, absurd contested catcher. Probably the best contested catcher I've seen just in terms of like the volume of him winning in the last couple of years. Last, at least, 5 years. Him and Drake London are like ridiculous contested catch guys. Probably the best two in my opinion. But Odunze, just the pure volume of them were absurd. Like he can be getting the shit jammed out of him, completely locked up guy in his hip, throw the ball up, and he just contorts his body, makes a ridiculous catch. But I'm concerned about the lack of ability to get off of press. I'm concerned with the secondary releases. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes he just runs into a guy unnecessarily. There are some easy drops there. The blocking is so-so. You'd want him to be a little bit better blocker for his size. I would also like to see him use his size and his routes a little bit better. Not necessarily contested catching, but in breaks, digs, stuff like that. I want to see him lean into a guy a little bit more and break off. The hand fighting is inconsistent. His releases, there's pretty much zero to his game there. Zero. It's one step and go. It's all speed releases. His releases are brutally bad in my opinion, just in terms of the lack of variety of them. So I like the potential of him because of the contested catching, because of how smooth he is. I think he has some smooth acceleration. I also think for his size, 6'3", 215, he's able to get out of breaks really well considering his size, even with poor technique. So he excites me for what he could be, but I'm not enthralled with him. Like I don't love him as a prospect necessarily. Like I would take Drake London over him. I would take Garrett Wilson over him last year or 2 years ago. Sorry, last year's receivers I can't speak on because I didn't individually watch them. So you don't destroy the future to make the playoffs. It's only worth it for a Super Bowl. I don't know what's that in relation to, but any thoughts on our Darius Mims or our Marius Mims? I've heard very raw. Again, I didn't really watch him, so I'm not going to speak on it, or I'm not going to speak on it without prefacing it by saying I only have opinions from some other people I respect, but very raw, super high athletic upside. He's only started 7-8 games in college. That's very concerning. So you're going to be looking at a guy who's most likely going to take a while to develop in the NFL. Do the Jets have the time to develop a raw tackle? Probably not. So for me, I get the trading down and stuff like that. And if you have Latham, Fuaga, Fashanu as, let's just say, B pluses, and then you have guys who you think will be available at 21, Morgan, whoever it may be, and they're Bs, but you can get a second round pick to trade down, a second and a third or whatever it may be, then okay. But maybe against the popular opinion, I'm kind of just stick and pick. Just get the best player. We need better players at this point. We don't need guys who need to develop anything like that. Get the guy who's pro ready. Like even Latham. Latham versus Fashanu, who, funny now that people are backing down on Fashanu a little bit. But Latham to me is much more pro ready than Fashanu. Fashanu in the run game is brutally bad sometimes. Brutally bad. And even in the pass game, there's some plays I'm going to show when I do the reviews of him getting bull rushed or him getting stood up by linebackers because he's pretty technically savvy, but some of the things he does or some of the things he did are only going to work in college and not necessarily at the NFL level, especially if you only have a fastball and you don't have that changeup. And in the pass game, I don't think he has enough. He has changeups, but he didn't display them enough for Shanu. So I think he's rawer than people realize too. But what about Patrick Paul in the third? See, like I know people will be like, yeah, sure. But why? Like, why are we going to grab a developmental tackle? We have to see what Carter Warren's still going to be. Max Mitchell is still the developmental guy, but in a season where it's Super Bowl or bust, or at least playoff win or two or bust, you want to go with a third round tackle? Why? And considering that you have some guys in free agency who are going to be available. And I'm hoping the Jets, ideally, they go into the draft and you pick up 2 tackles. You pick up, I don't know, Onwenu and Jonah Williams, or you pick up Onwenu and somebody else who's a little bit lesser. Let's just say George Fant, and you re-sign back, and you're a little bit more comfortable there, where it gives you some flexibility in the draft. That's ideal. But looking at free agency, it seems like there's going to be a receiver who's legitimately who's going to be able to come in and like plug and play that number 2 spot. Maybe it's not Pittman, maybe it's not Evans, maybe it's not Higgins, but could it be a Calvin Ridley? Could it be a combination of not necessarily filling it with one guy, but filling the 2 spot with like 2 decent guys with Boyd and Samuel? Like if the group was, Samuel, Boyd, Wilson, Lazard, and then if you drafted on the 3rd round, okay, it's not something necessarily to write home about, but it's good enough with Rodgers. But with all that being said, I think that there's more avenues in free agency to address receiver, where tackle in the 1st round is still going to kind of be a necessity. So, and with that being said, kind of to put another point on top of this, is it's not like Dunze is a slam dunk receiver at 10 for me. Brock Bowers, I'm not doing at 10. Again, I know people are going to criticize me for that, whatever. 2 streams ago, I pulled up 8 or 9 plays of him just not being good in contested catch situations. His route running looks good at times because he's so fast in and out of his breaks because of his athleticism. But the actual technicality of it is not there yet. So he can't run routes great. He can't contest. He can't get balls contested catch wise. He can't block in line. He can block linebackers. He can block DNs. Kind of like crack block. He can block safeties. But if you're talking about him like one-on-one block at the end, that's not there. So he's kind of like a jumbo wide receiver who can crack block, but then he's also not receiver fast in terms of like top end speed, top end receiver guys, and who can't contested catch. So you're drafting him for Yak. Like that's his only elite thing to me right now is Yak, and he moves well. But he's not Kyle Pitts. He's not Kyle Pitts, people. And again, I can pull up plays if you need me to. Just him. One, he's not great at tracking the ball, so it's not even the actual point of contested catching. There's times where he's looking for the ball and he just completely paces it and then goes up for one hand and drops the ball because he didn't just anticipate the ball's trajectory as well as you should have. So he's not a good tracker. He can't contested catch. And don't pull up the one, somebody will tag me in the one play he made one-handed. Okay. It's one play out of the other 8 or 9 I watched. He didn't come down with him. So I'm not drafting a guy at 10 for Yak. I'm sorry. I'm not. Like, I'm okay with Conklin and Ruckert there. The only receiver I would consider drafting at 10, and it's all obviously dependent on the situation, is Neighbors. I like Neighbors for sure. I think 6 games deep. I still have to watch another 5 or 6 of him. But I like him. There are some problems with him. I think he's really good acceleration. I think he's really quick in and out of his breaks. I think his top end speed is probably a little bit overrated. I think he gets there very fast, but he's not like a 4.29 guy. He might be like a more like a mid 4.3 guy, which is still great. And even if it's maybe a little bit higher, it's all about what's on the field. It's not necessarily the underwear Olympics. You could, Denzel Mims ran a 4.3. Was he a 4.3 guy in the NFL? Absolutely not. Was he a 4.3 guy at Baylor? No. You can run fast. It's all about football speed. So I think his top end speed is very good, not elite. There is sometimes he slips out of breaks. There's some body catches that I don't necessarily like, but his releases have a lot of potential. His quickness, his yak, his effort in blocks. I like Neighbors. So if he was there, okay, depending. Like, do we have Fant and Onwenu and you're hoping for a tackle, but oh my God, Neighbors fell. Let's take Neighbors. Okay, I'm cool with it. If you go into the draft and it's Onwenu or Trent Brown or whoever and nobody else, Neighbors versus, Latham, you might be forced to take Latham. You might be forced to take Latham. Even though I don't think Neighbors is going to be there realistically. Apparently, the Giants need him. I think the Giants are picking out like 5 or 6. I don't know their offensive line needs. I think if you need a receiver, skipping on Neighbors is pretty silly. He's a pretty good prospect. He's a pretty good prospect. Okay, I'm gonna keep going down. Nice helmet. Yeah, dang MVP Kyle. Yeah, it's awesome. Like I said, I might put a shield on it. I might put a shield on like one time, just get like a smoke one, and then when I'm changing the kid's diaper, just one day, just do it while my wife's gonna walk out and be like, really, like fucking really. But I kind of want to play that out a little bit. So Let's see. Using a top 10 pick on another guard would be a huge waste. If we want to move AVT to right tackle, we should just sign another mid-level guard to replace him inside and use the pick on a playmaker. Yeah, so to me, and I don't know if I've seen you in here, Matt, a lot. I'm pretty steadfast on, like, I get that AVT could play tackle. To me, AVT's ceiling at tackle and guard are much different. I don't think he's the same player. I think he could be a solid tackle. I think he could be an all-pro guard. Give me the all-pro guard. So yeah, in a terrible situation, or if you're forced to put him out there, then okay, it is what it is. But that should not be your plan A. Your plan A is keep him inside. Keep him inside. Do not put AVT at tackle. And again, I don't give a shit what the numbers say. He's not as good there. Great video. There's some chuckling. Oh yeah, we laughed at the guy who got slapped. We got laughed. And there's some things in there too. Like if you guys have questions about that, 'cause like I want to there's some things that people just don't know about. If you have questions, ask me. Like I'll legitimately tell you. His guard was a little bit down. The guy was hammered. Tactically, not the best video for him. When the guy is, 140 pounds and he's hammered, you're not so worried. It is what it is. But yeah, he got slapped. that was funny. Okay. So Eagle Fang, I'm gonna keep moving down the chat and I'll go through all my stuff. And then after that, we'll see where we are. Oh, it's already 7:03. What is it? What is not being noted? Which, by the way, my sign is working now, people. I fixed the room a little bit, tiny bit. Let me see, actually. Let me fix that. That's a little bit better. Okay. What is not being noted the entire time is the players are all promoting themselves on X with Pro Bowls and awards, but they are not defending Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. Yeah, that's another point too, Eagle, is you had the thing with Keith Carter a couple of weeks ago where Taylor Lewan calls him out and then Tristan Colon likes it. Mekhi Becton comments on it. Brees Hall, comments with like laughing emojis and people are like, oh, well, how do you know that he's not mad about it or whatever? It's like, it's pretty obvious. There's a bunch of players who are kind of seemingly not liking Keith Carter. So they're more outward in their displeasure with the coaching staff. You have Alan Lazard come out, which is another kind of comment about the article. They mentioned that defensive players were frustrated with Alan Lazard, basically calling out the coaching staff and defensive players like, dude, you're sucked on your bench. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, who are you to talk? Which I agree with. But the players are more prone to voice their displeasure with the coaching staff than to defend them. Like, nobody said anything this week. Concerning? I would say so. I don't think this is the staff. I just don't. And with Jan before, I don't think he's a terrible coach, but do I think he's the guy to win a Super Bowl with at this point? If I had to guess, I would say no. Super chat from Siegel North. Congrats on the new family edition. Thanks for the content. I appreciate you. Siegel North. I actually know a guy named Siegel. I wonder if you're related. If you're from the area, you may be, but nonetheless, I appreciate you. Yeah, it's been great, man. It's been great. Like, there's some days where, and it's obviously new. He's only like 2 weeks old or whatever, but it's like, dude, I just need like an hour. But I'm going back to work in like 3 weeks. I cannot imagine how much I'm going to miss them when I actually go to work. Getting a nice 15 minutes to like collect my thoughts is good, but the actual like leaving the house, I don't know. I ran some errands the other day and I missed them I was gone for like an hour. Okay. Let's see. It seems like JD magically escaped the bulk of the criticism. Yeah, that's what I mentioned before. Mr. Magix, we'll say. Yeah, he the only criticism he got was, oh, Rodgers runs the team, not him, or he's the assistant GM and Rodgers is the GM. And is that all based on the fact that we signed a couple of Rodgers guys, which, like, to a certain extent, yeah, is bad, but if you get like an MVP level quarterback, are you not going to take their recommendations? Now, do I agree with giving Lazard $11 million a year? No. Do I think that was brutal at the time? I don't, transparently. It's not a good move individually, but if it's going to get you Rodgers, then okay, it's the Rodgers tax. I'm fine with that one. Cobb, minimal type of deal. Okay, whatever. Billy Turner, okay, like tackle 5 at best. And he was playing sometimes. That's a bad one, but you're talking about like tackle 5. The Dalvin Cook one was god awful. That's one where it's either one of two things. One, the Jets don't know what the fuck they're watching. Their pro personnel department has no idea about watching football, because if you watched him, you know that he was going to be bad. You knew. There's no middle ground on that one. There's no gray area. That's black or white. You either watched or you didn't watch. The people who wanted him to fell for stats did not watch. That's plain Jane. That's as simple as it is. I don't care. There's plenty of people who said it. There's plenty of people, by the way, Nania, all these people, oh, Nania's a nerd, Pro Bowl running back, Nania's a nerd, shut up. This is where numbers are stupid. And he also watched the film and he's like, no, this guy is terrible. I also backed his claim up. Yeah, this guy is terrible. And then you have a bunch of dudes trying to dunk on Nania and all those guys just zip fucking quiet now. Zip quiet. So, hey, whatever. But yeah, that was a terrible move. So, the criticism, okay, he's assistant GM to Rodgers. All right, fine, whatever. Taslim says, saw the video, wanted to personally thank you for being an awesome cop from the video. It's clear that you and your coworkers are doing a great job and genuinely care about protecting people. Yeah. I'm not going to get into this. There are the 1 or 2 bad percent. There really are. From what I see from my area, from at least my county, the surrounding towns, there's not as many as people think. People like to act like assholes and then blame us. I'm sure that guy was like, "Oh, fucking asshole cops." It's like, dude, we tried to give you a ride home and you slapped us. And then people in the comments were like, "Oh, aggravated assault. That's not aggravated assault. Aggravated assault is deadly bodily injury." Well, guess what, asshole? When you do it to a cop or a public servant, whether it be like a mail carrier, a fireman, whoever it may be, the charge goes up one. It's not an aggravated assault. It's like, yeah, this is just why you don't read comments or you don't really buy into stuff, because people are just stupid. I have not seen a tweet, but yeah, it's funny. It's a funny video. Yeah, I'll share the link at the end, maybe, if you guys want. I've not seen a tweet comment from Hall, Sauce, JJ defending Salah, their coach from blitzing media. Garrett Wilson's the only person that kept it real and said what was on his mind. Yeah, and then he kind of said like this can't happen and stuff. But then like a week later, I guess they came out and said that he talked to the coaching staff. He's like confident in the direction, whatever it was. Which okay, we'll see. Law, the guy who sent the Bowers highlight reel as a rebuttal, and then saying he'd be laughing if he turns out to be good, as if his process was superior. And again, like that's kind of where I'm talking about, Slow-Mo Guy. Did I ever say that Bowers is never going to be a good player and he's terrible? Is me saying that he's not worth the 10th overall pick? Is that me saying he's never going to be good, or he's not worth a first round pick? He might be worth 10 if the Jets didn't have Conklin and Rucker and we weren't trying to win the Super Bowl this year. Like, okay, I would understand that pick maybe, but this year, Bowers, no. So, I'm not going to pull up those plays. I guess, Slow-Mo Guy, you saw it. You can go follow me, JorB31, but I put up those plays. I showed them 2 weeks ago in the stream, just the lack of contested catches the guys has, the amount of drops he has in easy situations, him getting blown up in the run game for people who think that he's Gronkowski and just going to block people out of the play. If he can't block a guy at Rutgers or wherever school it was, can he block, I don't fucking know, whoever we're going to play? Max Crosby, I don't think it's going to work out very well, him blocking in line right now. So yeah, that was his rebuttal. He's like, you didn't do enough research, all this stuff. Here's a highlight film so you could say. I'm like, oh, thanks, dude. Thank you. Trump card, you beat me. Your highlight film. Your Just Bomb Productions. Like, what? Hope the Jets trade down from 10 and pick up some more picks. Again, Harlan, like, it depends. Who is trading up one and who was there? What are their grades? What are your grades in terms of, okay, the tackles you'd expect to maybe be there at 10, let's say Fuaga Latham or Fashanu versus Morgan versus Fatanu, I think is his name, versus Mims. If the grade is drastically different, like, yeah, I like extra picks, but at the same time, like, we kind of need to plug a hole, like the tackle hole with a solid player. So if it's going to come at getting the worst player, but then also getting like another decent developmental guy in the second round pick, like, just give me the one better player. Like, the Jets have a few massive holes to fill. I don't want to like kind of fill it, because like a Mims or a Morgan or one of those guys, like, they kind of fill it. Even a rookie in the first place kind of fills it, because there's a lot of gray area. How does he take the NFL? How does he adjust, etc. But now you downgrade that for a lesser prospect. Are you really filling a hole? Like, and I'm not saying this is you, Harlan, but we know what happens in mock drafts and all this stuff is like people just like filling holes. Like, okay, we need a tackle, we need a receiver, we need a D tackle, we need a backup running back, we need a safety. Player. Holes are filled, we're fine. It matters about you also have to take into effect the substance, like how good those players are filling that hole. We need a good tackle. So if there's not a huge gap of those players, fine. From what I've seen of Fatanu, let's say it's like, okay, I don't know the trade chart like off the top of my head or anything like that, but like the Jets are at 10. They trade down to 16. They get a second round pick. Let's say they get pick 56. Latham versus Fatano for me for a second round pick. I'm probably not taking it, so it kind of depends. It does. I don't want to just fill a hole to fill a hole. I want to fill a hole with a good guy. 2.5 months until the draft, five different riders will move up into the top 20. Yeah, guys will fall, guys will rise. That's undoubtedly true. Undoubtedly true. At least you're an honest asshole. Congrats on the baby, RJF Media. Dude, like, it's fine though. Like, and I know that I've seen reviews about my shows and stuff. It's like, oh, not for everyone, abrasive. And I completely get that. Like, that's fine. And I know that's maybe like, you have a big round table of Jets content creators. I'm not on that. Is there a reason? Is it because I speak my mind and I actually watch? I don't know. And I get along with a lot of those guys. I've been on Green Bean Show. I've been on Boy Green Show. I've been on Jets Media. I've been on Ryan. I've been on Let's Talk Jets, all that stuff. But I don't think people always appreciate the honesty. Not even the honesty. I think they try. I think so. I'm not even saying individually people. I think they try to be honest. But I think a lot of people just go with the emotions. They go with the wind. And I don't like going with the wind. That's specifically why I did this. I used to do Jet Nation, and I'm not talking shit about Jet Nation because I love Jet Nation. They gave me my start. I started a podcast with a guy named Brandon Dowling, or actually, sorry. So the long story short is Brandon Dowling was on a podcast with a solo on Jet Nation. I called in, talked to him about whatever it was at the time, Geno Smith, Mike Vick, whatever, 2013, 2014. After the show, he messages me and then basically asked me to be co-host. I was co-host. We talked about basically 5 players, like Muhammad Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, Geno Smith, and the other 2 or 3 top players from the team. Like, this feels like very like stupid, and I don't like it. Like, I want to have a more in-depth understanding of both football and the team, because I'm only really talking about a few guys. And then I think I did it with Vinny, or I separated from Dowling and I went to Vinny. And then after Vinny, I was in with Glenn, who's still there. And I still didn't feel like we were necessarily getting into the film enough. I left Jet Nation for TOJ to do like more film-based stuff. And that's when I started watching coaching clinics and reading books and trying to figure out like how to actually scout and review players. And eventually I ended up leaving there because, whatever. JetX is the place for me. But I was doing like the radio host stuff at first, the ESPN stuff, the very shallow opinions with no backing. I just think that with 95% of the opinions out there, if you were to ask why, they couldn't follow up with why. And I'm not saying that's podcasters. I'm not calling out the Jets content community, because most of it is very, very, very good for what it is. But if you're going to rely on opinions that aren't based with any substance, it was frustrating to me. So then I decided to actually watch, like actually learn how to do it. And I'm not Bill Belichick. I'm not even Coach Vass or anything like that. But I don't like being shallow. I like being in depth with stuff. I don't know. I sorry for like steering off there. Some people are like, oh, click off, whatever. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. An honest asshole. I'll take that. I'll take being an honest asshole. I'll take my smaller niche of people. I'm cool with that. What do you think of the firing assistant GM Rex Hogan? It was a mutual parting of ways. Was that a nice way of saying firing? Why was he fired? I don't know. Did he want to go explore other opportunities? Why did he want to explore other opportunities? There's really no way to know. I could tell you, and I can find it. If he was in charge of pro player personnel, then thank God he's gone, because awful free agencies the Jets have had, like just dreadful. Joe, if the Jets play in London and you come over, I'll meet you up and we will have the best time. I'm going. I'm telling you right now. Like it's and unless something negatively unforeseen happens, which won't. I'll be there. I will be there. If they play in London, Germany, wherever it is, I'm hoping London, because I've never been to London. I've been to Germany, even though Germany is fucking awesome. By the way, best beer country in the world, in my opinion. Blows Ireland out of the water. I'm sorry for people from Ireland, but just having Guinness and was it like Smittix at every place, not good enough. Germany, you go to beer, like you go to any place, and the beer menu is like yay long, and they're all amazing. So I would love going to Germany again, but I'm hoping for London. I'll probably be there, or I'm 95% sure I'll be there. Also, don't forget, Joe B. Carl Loftus is 22 and JJ is 25. Carl Loftus in 2 years will be even better. Yeah. Okay. Again, I would have to watch Carl Loftus, but you're telling me 17 sacks in 2 years with less talent around him. Is he better than JJ right now? How do you quantify? I don't know, but that seemed to hit at least that Karloff is at least going to be a good player. I'm not saying he's necessarily even better than JJ. He's at least a good player. Beloved P says, it makes me think the front office is trying to save their jobs. Most Jets fans put the blame for the season falling apart on JD, which is weird that it was hardly mentioned. If I had to blame one or the other, well, Hackett's a part of it, right? Like Hackett, if you're talking about coaching staff, much more Hackett than Saleh. But what was the biggest problem with the Jets this year? Saleh or Douglas? Douglas. Get a backup quarterback. We said it since the day that we thought Rodgers was coming here. Oh, we have to get a backup quarterback too. Even in Zach Wilson's first year, we said you need a backup quarterback with this guy. You need a backup quarterback to show him the ropes. We didn't do shit. So we've been saying you need a backup quarterback for not just this year, 3 years. They didn't do it. Tackle, again, guy off of torn rotator surgery. Becton, who's been injured every single season, minus this season. You banked on him. Like Cook, Lazard. It was more the front office than it was the coaching staff, in my opinion, this year. So I'm late. Did you know there's no notification for your stream? Even though I opted for notifications, I had to type in your stream to find you. I'm probably getting canceled, right? I don't know. Did I speak positively about police and I'm getting canceled? I could see that. I could see it. I don't know. It could be I don't know, man. I'm not a technically savvy guy. I'm sorry, Kev, but Fridays at 6. I've been doing it every Friday at 6. Well, every Friday minus last week at 6. Contested catch guys that can't separate rarely work out in the NFL. Yeah, no, they definitely have a lower hit rate, RJ. You're definitely right. So it's concerning. It's concerning because he has the physical capabilities to be a good route runner. Like Mims had all the capability in the world. Good contested catch guy. But it didn't work out for other reasons. And one of the biggest reasons is him being soft mentally. Sorry, just true. But yeah, it's hard for them to work out. You know, it is hard. So, and it kind of follow up that question with another one about that. Would you take a Dunze at 10? It depends. Like in a vacuum, is he worth the 10th pick? Sure, I guess, but who's our tackles? Because me taking him over Latham's not happening. Me taking him over Fashanu is not happening right now. Me taking him over Fuaga right now is not necessarily happening. Me taking him over Neighbors is not happening. So it would be a pretty bad situation for the Jets to have to take a Dunze, in my opinion. Now, could it happen? Yeah, sure. Let's say you get, Onwenu and Jonah Williams, and you're comfortable with those guys, and Neighbors is off the board and all those guys are off the board. Okay. I think I would take him. Is he like option C or D instead of A or B? Yeah. Yeah. Matt says, are there any later tackles that you think could play right tackle right away, maybe develop into a left tackle later? Like later tackles? I don't know, Matt. Again, I'm very transparent with that stuff. I haven't watched enough of guys to say, yeah, this guy in the third round. I could just list off names in the third and fourth round and say, yeah, these guys are good, and maybe they could, but I haven't watched them, so I don't know. Do I want to just pick a guy in the later rounds and hope it works out? No. Like, get that guy in the first round. Get him in the first round. Mid-first round, trade down, whatever it may be, get him in the first round. And also, the left tackle, right tackle conversation to me is largely overrated. It's largely overrated. Where does TJ Watt rush from mostly? He rushes against your right tackle. Right tackles are very, very important too. So Latham, if he's a right tackle, he's been a right tackle for whatever it is, 3 years at Bama, 2 years at Bama. I don't know if he's a sophomore, junior, whatever it is. Let him play right tackle. I'm fine with him playing right tackle. Sign a left tackle. So it's largely overrated in my opinion, the left tackle versus right tackle thing. But I don't want to get a guy in the later rounds unless it was a situation where, okay, like I said before, you get an Onwenu, you get another guy, and then you draft the guy in the third round. Okay, I'm okay with that situation. But to actually like sport off names of guys I've watched or anything like that, again, I just think it's shallow to give you a bunch of names of, and my only research would be highlight films and other people's scouting reports. Need to throw the bag at Tyron Smith. Just make sure we have a good backup because he'll probably miss a few games. Yeah, he's an option out there, RJ, but what is the contract? And one of our own now, Andrew Falco. I think it's Falco. Yeah, article out there. Again, just transparency. I saw it was like $20-25 million a year for a guy who misses 4, 5, 6 games a year. That's probably a little bit high to me. So we're talking about like Tyron Smith at $22 million versus Onwenu for 13. Give me Onwenu. So it kind of depends on the price. And then, like you said, it's who's the backup. So you have to consider that if you sign him, and you should have good backups regardless, right? But you're obviously clearly emphasizing that you need a backup specifically more for Tyron Smith. So Tyron Smith then costs you let's just say $21 million a year, plus the backup who's going to cost you, let's say George Fant at $5. Actually, George Fant's even more than that because he actually played decent this year. Let's just say, for context, George Fant a few years ago, $5-6 million a year. So really it costs you like $26 million. Is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know with Tyron Smith. Harold says, I love Jackson Powers Johnson. I would trade. I saw some clips of him in the Senior Bowl. It looks nasty. I would trade down, take him, put Tippett at guard, and then take Christian Jones, Jordan Morgan at Yeah, it's could I see a situation where the Jets? Well, I don't know, because then who's the tackle? You're talking about take Christian Jones, Jordan Morgan, Tyler Guyton with a pick, and we acquire, trade back up to do it if needed. Could you see like a situation, or how about we just take a guy at 10 and then you trade a third and a future third or whatever to get up in the second to get him or something like that? Like I don't know. That's a lot of me talking about names that I don't know about. Am I comfortable with Christian Jones? Am I comfortable with Jordan Morgan, Guyton as starting tackles in a year where we absolutely dreadfully need a tackle? I don't know, but I like what I saw from him. That's what I could say. I can say that at the minimum. I watched some of him in the Senior Bowl, and he looks nasty. So and he moves pretty well for his size, by the way. I didn't anticipate him being as heavy as he is. So would you be reluctantly okay starting the season with Donovan Peoples-Jones and one rookie wide receiver? No. Donovan Peoples-Jones is like a 3 at best, and a rookie wide receiver. So you're talking about Garrett. Is that rookie wide receiver like Odunze or Neighbors? Is that enough though? Garrett Wilson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and a rookie receiver? That's not enough to me. That's not enough. Give me if you're getting a DPJ, give me Boyd with him at the minimum, or give me if it's Curtis Samuel, DPJ, and a rookie wide receiver. Okay, it's not an A+. You didn't nail the receiver position. Do I think that Rodgers can get away with that and still win it all? I do. If that money that you didn't spend on Devontae, Pittman, Evans, whoever it is now dedicated to getting, let's just say, Tyron Smith for shits and giggles, okay, fine. But if you didn't address either with a big splash and DPJ is your answer, I'm going to be pretty pissed off. Do we cut Lakin this year? I think we saved $8 million if so. I actually looked it up, and somebody brought this up last week, Dylan, or 2 weeks ago. If it's a designated post June 1st cut, it's $13 million. If I'm not mistaken, $13 million. You could find a better guard than him for $13 million. So yes, cut Lakin, please. Please cut him. Jealous of the Titans getting Bill Callahan. Yeah, he's a stud offensive line coach. I've watched some of his clinics. The dude's very smart. If the team respected Salah, they wouldn't. I don't think they do necessarily. Side note: are you sleeping enough after having a kid? Yeah, enough. I worked midnights for 3 years where I slept 3, 4, 5 hours of broken up sleep. Sleeping 5 or 6 now some days. It's fine. It's fine. Dan says, will Rodgers 100% walk if the front office fires Hackett and or Salah before the season? Like retire? I just honestly, Dan, I don't think it's real. Salah, no. Hackett, maybe. I don't think it's realistic though. It's not even gonna happen. So I don't want to even pour any brain power into it. Wonder if JD might be using his front office to shift blame on, or his FO. To shift his front office, he had to shift blame on Salah to get him fired, to give him a chance to hire another coach. Remember, this is the same organization that fired Bowles and kept McCagnon. Did they keep McCagnon? Yeah, they kept McCagnon, and then that same organization hired Gase and then fired McCagnon and kept Gase, and then hired Douglas. It was an absolute shit show. So I could, I guess I can see that possibility. Do I think that's really what's happening? No. Do I think it's just them realizing they're on the hot seat and trying to shift more blame to the coaching staff? Maybe it could be that, but at the same time, if this fails, everybody's gone. Narnia is a nerd. Sure. Yeah, fine. I think Narnia would admit to being a nerd. Narnia was still right though. And people try to dunk on him unnecessarily. So did you change your old Lou Fashano take? The dude is insane in pass pro, had one bad game this year. No, I didn't change it. I don't. I think he's the third or fourth tackle in this class. I think he is. So I figured out that a lot of the hype came from 2022 with him, not 2023. I watched all of 2023 from him, and I see a guy who's raw in the run game, very, very raw in the run game. And to say insane in pass pro, if that's your opinion, fine. I disagree with that. And I have at least film that I think backs it up that he's not so insane in pass pro. He does a technique where typically, he kind of just soft punches with the inside hand, and then the outside hand catches you. And there are guys in the NFL who are going to bull rush the shit out of that because the punches don't really deliver a pop, So you try to softly punch Max Crosby, good luck stopping him. Good luck, because your ass is going to be into the quarterback. And then there was times, in the run game getting stood up by linebackers, hands scooping from low. So I just disagree that he's insane in pass pro. I think that's a false narrative about him. I just do. Let's see if I have any bad. I'm sure I have bad pass plays of him. Fashanu. Yeah, I have good plays. Pass pro discipline, good. Feet hand stall, stunt pass off, good. Big step scoop, I'm sure that's not good. Reset handing latch, that's good. Not reach. Blow up play overset. Is this a pass play? Well, that's technically a pass play. He's not, let me say, he's not so technically sound all the time. Share screen. Where is this? Window, monos. Let's do entire screen. Doesn't really matter. This play. Where is that? Where'd that go? Is he so amazingly disciplined? Insane? Two at once, stunt pickup where inside punt hurts. Okay, so let's watch another pass play. And again, I'm not trying to dunk on you here. I'm just trying to show you some stuff. Again, and this will actually get broken down later on, where inside punch hurts. Okay, let's watch him get bull rushers. I'm sure that's what happens. Okay, not a fumble, but he just let up a hit. And again, if this is not 44, whoever that is, Max Crosby, is that different? Beat Coffee House. Okay, this is I love Coffee House stunts. You rarely see them, but I love them. Okay, insane in pass protection. Are you sure? Clunky second level. This is the run game right here. Completely whiff. Not even get a hand on a guy. So this is what I was watching. People are oh, he's a lock. He's a lock top 5 guy. Are you sure? Bad down play. Bad down block right here. Let's a guy get back in the play immediately. And he doesn't get in. He doesn't actually, does he actually make the tackle? Yeah, he does. He didn't hold the block for half a second. Pancake, Shed Brown, good pass break. There's good plays. For sure, there's good plays. But it overset. Let's see what this one is of him. Right here. That's a pretty bad play in the pass game. Not reach balance, not overcommit. Good. And again, I know I'm specifically pulling up bad plays, but this is, we're talking about elite pass pro. Insane. I've seen insane. I don't think he's insane. Yeah. Feet, hands, stall. Okay, let's watch left tackle again. Didn't hold the block for more than 2 seconds there. Quick anchor. There's good stuff. Highway shed. Let's watch one more, and I'll stop. But this is the stuff I'm watching. People are, Blue's an idiot. He doesn't think Fashanu is some stud. Okay. There's some problems. There are some problems with him. So he's fighting for my third, but individually as a player, he's my fourth. But I think he might be a better fit at tackle. Tackle. So let me go back. I'm trying to show some people some stuff. But that's the people who are saying, "Oh, well, he's an idiot." Okay. Let's see. I'm an asshole. Must be why I like you. All right, Tyson. I like that. Y'all garbage. Fix that horrible offensive line. Okay. I guess this is a Cowboys fan who doesn't have anything better to do on a Friday night than go to Jetstream. Unless you can't make long-term plans and you have quoting sacks as a pass rush metric. Are you talking about me in terms of Karlaftis? And just to preface this, yep, I did specifically say that this is a shallow argument. I'm looking up stats, so I prefaced it, buddy. If you're trying to dunk, rejected, because I clearly acknowledged that before it, and I brought up a lot of examples of why even sacks could be different. Sacks are much different. One sack to another is one sack after 5 seconds, is one sack after 2.5 seconds. So, okay. David Morgan's just a troll or just an idiot, whatever, probably both. Come on, hoping Brownlee can get reps. I like watching his releases and he can go up and get it. It would rather, yeah, okay. Simoon, I'm not necessarily with you. Brownlee was hyped in camp, and then preseason he really sucked. Like, he got jammed all the time. And this is another thing I want to bring up too. And this is something that I can specifically mention because I talk about this all the time with Marcus Coleman. Go back and watch Sauce. Go back and watch whatever DBs we're breaking down. Sauce did like a good thing in quoting Brownlee Jr.'s film in terms of like, yeah, your base is very shallow pre-snap, and it's leading to, he didn't even say it, but it's leading to jump splits and him being off balance and him being on his heels. That's like a very elementary thing. What are DB coaches coaching at the collegiate level, or even in high school, even at the NFL level? Like, if you're seeing a guy's stance is that shallow and he's jump splitting every rep and you're not fixing it, you're a terrible DB coach. Like, that is elementary stuff. We're not talking about shuffles. We're not talking about weight distribution. We're talking about his feet being too close together. And he had to be corrected by Sauce on that. And you're trying to go into the draft. Like, what? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are the coaches doing? I don't know. I would take Pete Carroll over Salah, Bill, and yeah. If you're talking about like, if I could just put him in his place and nothing else changes and there's no organizational dysfunction, where I take Pete Carroll over Salah, 100%. Tyron restructured for $6 million. I think he will be $12 million after a good season. I'm not sure. Are you talking about like, is he going to be like a $12 million contract? If that's the case, then sure. But I think it's even more than that. I could be wrong. Ezra Cleveland, yeah. Boba Jet, congratulations on the new baby. I appreciate that. Congratulations, Prodra, another Blew It. Yeah. What's up, Blew It? What's up, Wild Wave? I wonder if JD would trade into the top 7 picks to get alt. We would have to at least get past the Titans. If he's there, what does it cost though? Like, the Jets have some holes to fill. How does free agency go? Do I think alt is that much better than the other tackles he's worth trading up for? Probably. You're talking about like 7 pick 7. So you're trading, I don't know, like a second and a third, like this year's third and next year's second, maybe even more than that. Not go with like the draft value chart at the top of my head. I think it's a possibility. He's never traded down. He's traded up. So if he sees the Jets as, hey, you filled receiver, you got Calvin Ridley, you got Owenu for the one side, you re-signed Cody Adams, you got Clark back, you got Quentin Jefferson back, you found a fat run stuffer. And your biggest hole, like the only hole that you really, really need to fill is that tackle spot, and you're confident in the rest of your roster. Do you want to trade up? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with getting aggressive. I am. What free agent running back would you compliment Hall, J.K. Dobbins on 1-year proof? I saw that. The thing with J.K. Dobbins is like, this is his 3rd year and he's had like so many injuries. So it's not necessarily like a stylistic thing, because I think Breece Hall could do a little bit of everything. I would say, if anything, more of like a bruising running back, a guy who can run between the tackles, because Hall is a little bit more of like a home run hitter, a guy who's not necessarily going to get you like 2 or 3 dirty yards all the time. And this is not going to necessarily be popular just because of like the whole Packers thing, but getting a guy like AJ Dillon, okay. And I'd have to watch more of him. It's just more like body type thing. And I can see it, obviously, Packers connection, Rodgers connection. But it's not necessarily like a stylistic thing. I just think they need a guy who's capable. I don't think Izzy's enough. J.K. Dobbins, how confident the injuries, Kareem Hunt, AJ Dillon, something like that. Okay. So he's given up, or I guess this is about Fashanu, 15 pressures and 800 pass blockings. And half of them were against Ohio State. Again, translatable. There are some, a hug technique. A hug technique might work against Rutgers you go, you set, and instead of punching the guy, you just hug him, because you know that hugging him, he's not going to be able to move left or right, because you have him by the shoulder pads, and hopefully you quarter turn and get that back activated. Okay, that's awesome. You can control a guy like that at Rutgers. If you do that versus Max Crosby, have fun. So you can't just say, oh, well, stats, because there's some plays that are not translatable to the NFL level. They're just not. I'm not. And again, this is going to be something where, oh, he hates Fashanu. No, I'm just saying he's not some stud guy who's a slam dunk second guy after alt. I do not feel that way at all about him. Joe says, how many starters do you think the Jets need? 1 tackle, 2 tackles, starting receiver, if not 2 starting receivers. I consider 11 personnel is the new starting receivers. So 2 tackles, 2 receivers, safety, D tackle, 6. And safety could be as easy as bringing Clark back. I like Clark a lot. I really, really do. That could be as easy as that. Quentin Jefferson, bring him back. Bring an Al Woods type back, but probably not Al Woods. I think he retires after, his age, his weight, and tearing his ACL, Achilles, whatever it was. So, yeah, I would say 6, but I think like 2 of them are pretty easily filled by D tackle and safety. Blewett, you seen Rome and Neighbors yet? Yeah, I think I'm on I just finished game 6 of Neighbors, and I watched all of Rome Odunze's season, but 1 game, because I'm going to leave it before I do the review. So yeah, I've watched them both yet. I definitely have Neighbors higher, for sure, higher than Rome Odunze. Like, in a vacuum, Odunze is the 10th pick for whatever the situation may be. I'll be like lukewarm. Like, okay, I get it. Don't love the player. That same situation, in a vacuum, whatever that situation may be, Neighbors is the pick at 10. I'm pretty excited. Early on, though, I'm 5 games in. I've probably 8 more games to watch or so, I think I have on schedule. Thoughts on Guyton? I don't have enough to say anything. A lot of my reviews for the draft stuff will be after the draft. I can talk about the top guys pretty confidently because I've watched them all, or very confidently because I watched them all. But I don't want to, I might watch these guys in passing, but I don't know. A lot of my stuff will come after the draft. So the guys in the second, or sorry, not the second, I guess, right? The 3rd round, the 4th round, the 6th round are going to all be reviewed. But pretty much after the top guys, I start watching free agent guys, and I start watching Jets players. So I'm going to finish Neighbors and Alt in the next few days. And then I'm going to start working on Will McDonald, Tony Adams type reviews. Would you pick Broderick Jones? Kev, I didn't. So last year, I didn't watch the draft stuff because I thought our first round picks going to go for Rodgers. So I didn't watch Broderick Jones enough. Just being realistic. Oh yeah, Brownlee's getting bodied. I agree with you. Just anyone. Okay, yeah, I understand that. Seamoon, I understand that. Lazard is terrible, but again, and just showing you the shallowness of some evaluations, everybody loved Brownlee because of 1 highlight catch, maybe 2 highlight catches. Maybe I forgot one. But then he went to the preseason game and he got locked up, and he catches the ball like this every time. Catches the ball like that. He never catches it with his hands. Broderick Jones would be OT2 in the draft. I don't know. I don't know, Kev. Based on what I've heard, or what I heard of him last year, I didn't love the prospect. Again, very passively, only having 3% of the information I should. I think he's probably below the top 4 guys in this draft. Joe, what team would you switch to once you're done with the Jets? So realistically for me, and this is only let's say if the Jets disbanded and they just were not a franchise anymore, it would probably be the Ravens. Not trying to be a front runner. But Giants, absolutely not. So my thing is, it has to be within my geographical location. Like, it has to be within a 50 to, or not even 50. It has to be within 100, 200 mile radius. So it would be either, and the Commanders are such a shit show now, but it would be either the Commanders or the Ravens, because I can drive to watch their games. It's not the Giants. It's not the Eagles. Fuck the Eagles. It's not the Pats. It's not the Bills. So it would be the Commanders or the Ravens. I would say probably the Ravens, though. I've always liked their jerseys and I like their history, Ed Reed, and they're actually pretty successful. So would I really want to go if picking from the Jets to the Commanders? Like, why? I'm just picking more misery. So it would be the Ravens. According to Walter Football, Rex Hogan convinced Douglas to draft Wilson. Some people wanted to run back. But did he? I don't know. Does Walter what does Walter Football know? Walter Football also said that, that Malik Neighbors' only weakness is his size. That's it. It's the only thing he's not good at. It's just his size. And what are his connections? Like, I don't believe anybody below the piece. I'm sorry, I just don't. So like, regardless if it's him, it has to be very reputable. Like Walter Football. Some people wanted to run it back with Darnold and draft Pitts, Sewell, Chase. I'm not sure I believe that. That would have been better, looking back Monday morning quarterbacking, taking Penei Sewell. I would take Penei Sewell over Chase. Actually, no. Actually, no, I have to watch, honestly. I hate saying stuff like that and not watching. Chase, probably face value, but I know Sewell's been really good too. Stay at 10, tag and trade Huff for some picks. Ideally, you keep Huff. It just depends on how much he wants. It depends. I hate to trade up when we just had to lose that last game. I know, Kev. Yeah, right. Like, do we even think about that Pats game right now? Like, I think we could have been like pick 6? We could have been pick 6, and it could have been one of like Neighbors or Alt, pretty much guaranteed. Yeah, that'd been great. But unfortunately, they won. It is what it is. It is what it is. Home run hitter like Dylan, yes. A home run hitter like Dylan, yes. A punishing running back that tired. Yeah. You think Becton could play guard, or is he just ass? I think he's just ass at this point. Or he was better in the beginning of the year. And I think he might have faced some injuries. So it's not like he was brutal all season. He was still not good early in the season. But the thing with guards is the contact is so quick there. And you get bull rush so often that size like that, like in terms of like height, doesn't typically work out. So just based on his physical profile, it's not good. And then you're talking about moving a guy from tackle who's never played guard. Is it possible? Could he? Sure. Should they? No. Can we afford DJ Reader to replace Woods? DJ Reader's a stud though, Kev, right? Like he's and isn't he like smaller? Is DJ Reader smaller? I could be mistaken. Let's see. Wait. 327. Okay, so he's not that small. He's actually pretty big. What was his stats looking like this year? Yeah, 1 sack. Yeah, I don't know, Kev. Hey, if you like DJ Reader and he's that run stuffing guy, I trust your opinion. Sure, a guy like DJ Reader can replace him. Now, with that being said, the Jets can sign DJ Reader, and I can go watch DJ Reader and be like, what the fuck was Kev talking about? Even though I know you're not individually endorsing him, you're just asking. The weight profile says yes. So. I really like McConkey and Roman Wilson. Will they be available in round 2 if the Jets can get a second for Huff? Do you like them? Yeah, see, like any of my Jets super fan, I don't know. I know McConkey is like that. He's like that white receiver who runs really good routes, but some people think like his physical ceiling is pretty limited. So a guy like that is even worth a second round pick with not high physical upside. I don't know. And then Roman Wilson's a guy who I haven't watched. Again, just transparency. What about the 2 receivers? If Randall Cobb wants to come back because he only had last year 1-year deal, but Adams from the Raiders only. I don't know about Randall Cobb. He only had. No. Okay, Kev, I'm gonna blame you. I'm gonna watch DJ Reader. If they sign him, they suck. So I'm just gonna blame you. I'm gonna blame you. Beloved Pieces. I'm looking forward to the Carter Warren review. Some people seem to think that he could be solid backup next season. Yeah, I think those are the 3 biggest question marks on the team, right? And let me know. Let me know if you guys want to watch other players, but I think the biggest question marks are, okay, how did Tony Adams really play? Because we're depend on him to be, a free safety next year and a hopeful Super Bowl run. How did Carter Warren play? How did McDonald play? Like those are the 3. Those are the 3 biggest questions. So the 3 biggest questions. Let me go back into my notes a little bit. Carter Warren, a better left tackle or right tackle? I'll tell you, because he played both. He played both this season. He played a little bit of right tackle, right? Unless I'm mistaken. But he played left tackle at Pitts. You're assuming he'd be better at left tackle again. So you probably assume he was better there. When you're watching so many plays, you kind of tend to forget, like, okay, better performances left or right. But again, I'm going back soon and watching, so I'll have a better answer for you in a week or 2. Randall Cobb, who might want to come. He only did 1 year signed up for, but Adams, if he wants to come because Allison, I never know. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's like a voice thing. I don't know if it's like a language thing. Maybe it's not your first language. I can't understand it live. Yes, both. Yes, he played both. Yeah, no, I thought he played both. But he played left tackle at Pitt. So you're assuming he was at left tackle, but this is why I think Beloved Peaches say it. I'm also looking forward to the Carter Warren review because those are ones that I know are not going to like hit in terms of people wanting to watch Carter Warren reviews. But for my own, not mental, my own me, I want to watch those guys. Like I know what Garrett is, I know what Q is, I know what Sauce are. Those are the ones to appease to the fans. The ones that I'm excited for are the Adams, the Warrens, the McDonald's. You know. So I feel like that right side was open 24/7, man. Yeah, I think I'm doing McDonald first because that's pretty pressing right now, like him versus Huff, and then I might do Carter Warren right after. Josh Jacobs, would he be better team with him and Hall? I haven't watched Jake. Yeah, it'd be awesome, but like we're going to be spending, what, $8, $9, $10 million on Josh Jacobs? It's a little bit much, right? Like Brees is enough of a stud. He's a stud enough, he's a stud, right? So you don't need to do the whole like duo backfield thing with him. You need to run him 75% of the reps, give 20% to the number 2 and 5%. You don't want to pay Josh Jacobs and force him in when Brees Hall can just do most of the work, right? Like we don't need to spend that much on a backup running back. Warren has looked better than Mitchell from what I've seen. Yeah. From what I've seen too. Again, transparently, especially towards the end of the year, you start to lack focus because they just suck and it's not fun to watch. I'm not necessarily zeroing in on Carter Warren unless a play significantly stands out. But I thought he was more impressive than I thought he would be. So Carter Warren would be an interesting review, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go back up my notes a little bit and let the chat build up, and then I'll jump out of here. So let me just, is there anything I missed? Yeah. So athletic article, Hackett's not a good coach. I mentioned, I put my notes here that Diana Rossini clearly has a vendetta, or in my opinion, is at least maybe not a vendetta. That's a strong word. Does she have a Jets bias, an Aaron Rodgers bias? I think so. So do I take most of it with a grain of salt? Yes, I do. Saleh giving up, looking at coaches, Hall of Fame head coaching records before they had a good quarterback or with a backup quarterback. That's quite embarrassing if that's true. But again, is it even true? Probably, because that's the only, he said it in the media quite frequently, like, oh, we lost Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers is out. They're infatuated with him, and he went down, and they kind of just threw their hands up. They gave up, and that's frustrating. Like one of my biggest problems with Saleh. Is there anything else? Lazard made comments. Defenders got mad at him. That was out there. Again, that would be pretty obvious. Like we were mad at Lazard, right? I don't know after what week that was, and nobody's going to do it. But there's a stream out there where we talked about Lazard criticizing the coaching staff, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, dude, you're not even fucking playing. Like you got $11 million, and you're inactive for what, 3-4 games this year, and there were so many games where you had like 1 or 2 catches. Like you are a scrub, and you're talking shit. Oh, by the way, I could put this like right back here. That's kind of cool. Like that? How should we do it? Like that? I don't know. I didn't realize I can prop that up in the background maybe. I don't know. I can do something. It's a nice friggin' actually, I'm not gonna wear it. I feel like an idiot. It's awesome though. Thank you, Kyle, again. Solid. I'm literally just going through my notes. Somebody said, I think Ryan from Jets Talk said that he had a source that said that the leak came from Taylor Embry, the running backs coach who was just let go. Is that true? Again, I don't know. Throwing that there into the ether because Ryan did. It's obviously possible. Yeah. Okay. That's about it. Pro personnel. Oh, wide receiver coach Sean Jefferson. That was something they let go of Azizi or whatever the hell his name was, and some people were drawing connections from Cortland Sutton to the Jets because he was the receivers coach for the Broncos from like 2018 to 2020 or 2021 or something like that. So they're drawing some connections to Sutton, who I think is another good option if you could trade for him, a third or a fourth round pick. I think that's more than feasible. But they let go of him, or actually they didn't do anything with him that I heard about, but they brought in Sean Jefferson. So you have to assume that he's fired. They also brought in the new running backs coach, Tony Dews. They let go of Embry. Do I like that the Jets are like the clear definition of like nepotism where it's, hey, or not, maybe not. Yeah, I guess nepotism, but it's like Keith Carter, Todd Downing, Tony Dews. Like, let's just bring in all the fucking Titans. Like, are we doing this because Vrabel's going to be the coach? Like, what's the, there's conspiracy theories out there for that. So yeah, I don't like that we're like the New York Titans. So maybe they're hinting to the fact that the Jets are going to go back to the Titans throwbacks because we basically are the Titans with the coaching staff. We're the Green Bay Titans at certain points. So pretty bad. I wrote in the video or wrote my notes the Sauce coach up again. If you have to be coached up that your feet are too close together pre-snap, I think your college coaches are ass because I'm not even trying to be whatever. That is like elementary cornerback stuff. Elementary. Have your feet ready before the snap. If you're high like that, if you're high and if you're shallow, your body, no matter what, when a guy comes at you, tend to separate to try to get a better base. And when you're high or on your heels, your weight's back and then you can't react. Like, yeah, everybody should have their feet staggered, or a little bit, not staggered. That's not what I meant. About shoulder width apart. Good bend in the knees. Then a lot of coaches trying to avoid jump splits because, again, when a guy comes at you really quickly, your body has a tendency to go back and feet separate because you're trying to brace for that contact. A lot of coaches, it's not a false step, it's a kick step. A false step is when you actually don't mean a step, but a lot of coaches, because your body wants to move, they teach you to move before your body moves improperly. So a lot of guys will teach, okay, a left or a right kick step, depending on where you are, so you can avoid the jump split. Like, that's even more complex than just, hey, have your feet spread out instead of really shallow. So like, I like that Sauce did that, but it made me question whoever that guy's college coaches were. Like, what elementary? Okay. I'll go down through a few more questions and I'll jump out of here. I'm gonna do it for the last couple questions. Ryan wears the I'm not buckling the chin strap. Ryan wears the flight cap. I'm gonna start wearing the helmet. The Jets helmet. I should get a visor. And I can just come on here hammered or take an edible. You guys would never know. Warren has looked better than Mitchell from what I've seen. Mitchell looks completely outmatched at times. Carter, Warren. Okay, yeah, everyone went through these. Highlander Prime. The Zach Wilson fails elsewhere under a more until Zach Wilson fails elsewhere under a more competent coaching staff, despite his rough go with his team, I lean more towards the idea that Jets regime ruined him. I think he's more dude. Highlander Prime. He's more talented than Sam, undoubtedly. There is zero wiggle room with that. Talent, undoubtedly. He was definitely a better athlete, definitely a better arm than Sam Darnold. Do I think the Jets? I think that people don't value where people go enough. Busts are not just busts. Like, would Sam Darnold be a bust if he went to the Niners? Would Zach Wilson be a bust if he went to the Niners? Don't give me the Trey Lance stuff. I'm just giving you good teams. It's it's at least undoubtedly less likely, in my opinion. So there's a possibility. Yeah, the Jets ruin a lot of people. They've ruined a lot of quarterbacks. I'm not going to defend them in that. They're all waiting for Rodgers to save them. Good luck. Hey, it's possible. Wasn't Lazard the guy playing soccer in warm-ups or something? Dude's a clown. Yeah, like every warm-ups, the motherfucker can't catch, but he's kicking a soccer ball around. Helps him with his feet. That still suck. RJ says Samini thinks the Jets won't tag Huff, afraid with getting stuck with a large cap hit if nobody bites. Think they'll lowball him and then just let him walk for nothing. I don't agree with that observation. It's possible though, right? Because Huff has to sign the franchise tag, right? And he could wait until is it July or June or something like that to sign it. So he could kind of hold the Jets by the balls. Which why would he do that? But I guess it's a possibility. But the thing with the tag is, and I made a mistake prior to this, saying hey, no team's going to pay him $23 million. You can tag and trade and then rework the contract. So I would say it's possible that he's not tagged. I feel like such an idiot. That he's not tagged. But if they're going to get rid of him, or if he is off the team, I would say tag and trade is the most likely. But again, what if teams don't bite for the Jets asking price? And then you have to have that cap space cleared up for him to be under the books for that $22 million. And then you're not going to be able to sign free agents. So, hey, we want Zeitler for $8 million, but we have Huff and nobody wants to trade for him for an asking price. And now do we have to get lowballed? Because, hey, that team might know that, hey, the Jets only have $4 million right now. And they need to start signing guys because wave one of free agency has left. Wave two of free agency has left. Oh, shit. They need to get rid of this guy if they're going to trade him. So let's lowball them because the Jets need to trade him. That's possible. It's in there. If you could redo a trade, would you veto Kevin Durant or AR trade? AR has more power than JD. Are you saying either one? Either one? No, Rodgers, like it's this coaching staff is going to be, it might have been doomed regardless. So at least getting Rodgers gives us a possibility. Like you can have a really shitty coach at OC, whatever it might be, maybe, and because Rodgers has like a Hall of Fame mind as well, he might be able to make the because Salah's good on defense at least, right? Salah and Ulbrich are great on defense. They're great. Top 5, top 10 defense this year, undoubtedly, most likely. Probably top 5. That's there because of Salah. So if you bring an AR and he basically is your offense and he can bring that offense to at least mediocrity, you can win the Super Bowl with that. So I'm never going to regret the Rodgers decision. It sucks that he got injured and makes us question it more, but he was kind of our only hope for the light, with the staff. So unless the question is, hey, would you rather not do the Rodgers trade and just blow it up a year early? Okay, I see that more as a question. But with this staff, I think Rodgers was the only saving grace. He's the only guy who could save you. It's possible this year. Get him an offensive lineman or 3. Get him a receiver or 2. Fill up some minor holes in the defense, and you have a top 5, top 10 defense, probably top 5, like I said. Mediocrity is what you need from the offense to win the Super Bowl. I believe the Athletic bit about Salah checking his record because while I think he's a clown, but Benigno said Salah was texting him records of other. Benigno's a clown too, though, dude. Like I'm proud to promote this. I've listened to 0 Joe Benigno on the radio. The only thing I've heard of Joe Benigno has been passively through Twitter clips. He's a joke. I don't care what he says. I really couldn't care less. I don't know. If the Jets do clean house next year, would they be appealing location for GMs and head coaches? Kind of depends on what do they think about Woody Johnson? The Jets don't have they're not the Niners. They're not like a high and mighty franchise. They're not like a respected franchise. So do people love Woody Johnson? I would say like a mediocre place, New York and all that stuff. But the same thing, you get all the glitz and glamour with New York, but you also get, absolutely raped with taxes. So do you want to do that? I don't know. I don't think it's like an A+ spot. I don't think it's an F though. If AR era ends without even a playoff game, we are in deep shit. We're in deep shit regardless, right, Kev? It's just, what mindset are we going into that deep shitness with? It's not a word, but I'd rather go into deep shit with a Super Bowl because either way, we're kind of fucked after he leaves, most likely. Retain some of your good players, retain JJ, you got to get back at least Sauce and Wilson. Brees is what it is, man. Running backs, you can't get attached to them. They leave so often, but bring back Sauce, JJ, Garrett Wilson, those type of, the young guys. But we're going to have a few bad years from like 26, 27, 28, most likely, like just trying to readjust the cap, whatever it is. But in terms of like you brought up the Rodgers thing before, I don't regret it. I think he's the only possibility for light. And I know that there's some conversations about like people don't trust Rodgers or don't like Rodgers in the building either. That's bullshit. They voted him the most inspirational guy, players. So now they don't like him. I think again, Diana Rossini has a little bit of anger towards him. Maybe if he could wait past June, if he wanted, the team would have to rescind. Otherwise, there's nothing they could do. Whoever's in a comment you don't. No, A-Rod, yeah, you may have seen him on Hard Knock, but you haven't seen him on the field. You can judge him after he's on the field until you see him play.
What the hell is even that?
Quarterback.
Oh, is it? Is it later than that? The tags? Yeah. Can't wait to really dig into draft season with you. I feel the two of us and Nania could get the Jets to the Super Bowl next year. Not sure what the front. I am, and I know a lot of people say this, I am at least confident in myself at the minimum in free agency. They'd be better off than they have been. Minimum. They're not signing Tomlinson, Uzomah Whitehead at the bare minimum. Can't stand Joe. He doesn't rep us fans. I'm talking about Joe Douglas? I hope we're not talking about me. I'm also Joe. I don't know. AR in this offense and Hackett should be the babysit. Yeah, no, exactly, Kev. He is the offense. Like, in the article, which highlighted, and we obviously know, like, Rodgers would run certain plays or would come to the line and just disregard what Hackett said. Fine. I would rather that because Hackett's not good. Like, Rodgers is the OC. I'm cool with that. if shitness. Joe and Salah text each other. My assertion has nothing to do with what I think of Benigno Salah. Yeah, okay, Art, you are right with that because he was legitimately texting him. Now, did he have screenshots of this? I don't know. And I'm sure, and I said before, I'm sure that he looked up and was talking about Hall of Fame coaches because he talked about it frequently, like who wins without their backup quarterback and all. So I was like, hey, asshole, you and your regime is part of the reason that you're playing with fucking Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian instead of Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, whoever else it may have been. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, I didn't mean to I like you, Art. I didn't mean to do that like that, but I'm just saying. I don't give a fuck about him. He's a clown. But yeah, Salah he probably was, or he was texting him. Okay. And it confirms it. And we already knew that. We already knew he's very woe is me, Salah. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Like he's very, oh, well, the Marines and the Navy SEALs and all this shit, but he gets a little bit of adversity. He's, oh, fuck. Oh my God. Like 60% of whatever, and you still have 40% more, whatever that fucking thing is, if it even makes sense. Like he didn't even get to 60%. I knew he would come on this division. People wouldn't like them. Talking about Rodgers, like we wouldn't like him. I don't know. Everybody here likes Rodgers. Like I think most people like Rodgers. You wish he maybe didn't have to always try to like dunk on people. He could be a little more mature maybe in like social media aspects, and not have to like go at Jimmy Kimmel and go at all these people. But overall, we like him. Salah complaining that the Giants get more negative press than us is some whiny shit. Very whiny, but also probably true, right? Like the Giants are a shit show right now with Dable, and like people leaving and just walking out, and all those stories about how bad they are, behind the scenes, and coaches just leaving for the same spots. Clearly, it's not working out there very well with Dable. He's clearly an asshole, and it's not getting talked about a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know what it means. Okay. I told my wife 8:00. There is a baby, and I got to take care of that. And she probably has to sleep. So I can't really go much past because I will get my balls chopped off. Not really, but I can't do that to my wife. It's not fair. I appreciate you guys. I will be back next week, same time, Friday at